And everybody, welcome to Clear Vision Wednesday. I'm Claudia Mühlenweg. I'm the creator of the Naturally Clear Vision Method. And sorry about the delay today going live. We had some technical difficulties, and my guest today had some technical difficulties and cannot come on, which is a bummer, but we have amazing replacement, which is Jess, and I'm going to bring you on, Jess. I'm going to bring you onto stage, Jess McNaughton, and she is the CEO of C60 Proper Power. So she's not the mad scientist. I always say mad with loving quotes. So welcome to the show, Jess.
Thank you, Claudia. I'm so honored to be here, and to your entire audience. We greatly apologize about the tech issues. As you guys know, we're just living in some strange times, and sometimes the connectivity of the internet just doesn't work. And right now, we can't grab Ken, but I know he's really excited to connect with you, and he will be more than happy to come back as soon as Claudia will have him. So I'm happy to fill in, and I can talk all about C60. And I also want you guys to know I am a huge Claudia fan, and we've had her on our show before. I can't think of a better person for you guys to be following for natural, healthy vision techniques, because she is not somebody who just talks the talk, but she walks the walk, and she's living proof of the fact that you can do these amazing natural remedies and treatments in order to improve your vision. And I wear glasses, but they're clear, but I regularly practice what Claudia teaches. And I'm on a path to improve my vision as well. So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you so much for allowing me to fill in.
Yeah, and thank you. And I see we have lots of people watching now. So I will bring Ken on separately and then we'll record something and put it up. But anyway, you know the whole story. So Ken is a scientist. Can you tell us a little bit about his background?
Absolutely.
And how he discovered, because I know this whole thing changed his whole life trajectory, right?
Yep.
So
yeah. So
okay.
This is a really fun story, and I love sharing this information because Ken is not a braggadocious person, and he doesn't necessarily tell you the why behind it. So I'm happy to share that with you. So Ken is a biogeochemist and a research scientist, and he's one of these individuals who has always had a strong calling to solve big problems. And I'm not talking about like little ones, I'm talking about big ones. And what I mean by that was, after Fukushima happened, Ken was really pissed off. He was pissed off about what was happening to the planet and all the nuclear, all the radiation that was getting dumped into the Pacific Ocean. And he was just like, this is awful. And he was on a mission to prove a more efficient form of nuclear fusion energy. So obviously not a dumb guy, right? Like
he's not dumb. I can't follow him after 2 more sentences. I'm like, okay, stop.
Yeah. So he had this idea that he had an idea about how he could prove this more efficient form of nuclear fusion. And so he was going to have to do some work in the radiation space. And he knew he was going to be exposed to radiation, and all the previous doctors and PhDs and scientists who worked in this space, they were the late doctor this and the late doctor that. They were dead because of the radiation exposure that they had, been exposed to in their work. So Ken knew that he had to first figure out how he could address the potential oxidative stress that he was going to be exposed to. And he had heard about this molecule called carbon-60. So a little bit about carbon-60. There's some pictures of it behind me. It's a molecule of carbon that has 60 tiny atoms in it. And it was theorized in the 1970s by Buckminster Fuller, and some scientists out of Rice University in the mid-80s discovered it. And it solved a really large kind of astronomy question that people had for a long time. And they found it not only in the atmosphere of large red stars, but it also occurs here on Earth. They found it at places where there's like meteorite impacts. And also when you light a candle, at the little flick of that candle, a little bit of carbon-60 is created at that moment. So the scientists who discovered it won a Nobel Prize for their discovery in the mid-90s. And after that, there were some studies that were done with carbon-60, and the scientists ended up winning the Nobel Prize, likely because they were towards the end of their life. But some of the studies that came out of the research were really profound. One of the ones, they were trying to prove at what level would it be toxic, because they originally had these ideas that C60 might have some industrial applications, like maybe they could put it in solar panels. And so they really wanted to understand whether or not people who were going to be working with it, if they're, what level was it toxic? And what they found was that no level was it toxic. They gave 10,000 times the amount of a dosage to the test animals that that they would give to any person, and the animals, basically what happened was their lifespan doubled. So that was really profound, and they won the Nobel Prize. Well, Ken had heard about this, and he was able to get some, and he started experimenting with it. And at first, he was taking it kind of irregularly, and that's not uncommon. Like a lot of people, when they start taking a new vitamin or a supplement, they have a hard time kind of working it into their daily routine. And that was true for Ken. So initially he was kind of taking it, sporadically. And then after a period of time, he started feeling better. And he had some injuries from earlier in his life from motocross and, some joint issues. And he started just to feel like some relief from those typical aches and pains. And he went on to go to his optometrist about 7 or 8 months after taking it. And his doctor was really surprised because Ken had a degenerative, he had macular degeneration. And his doctor had advised him, like, listen, there's really nothing that we can do about this. And you're just going to have to kind of accept the fact that after a period of time, your vision is just going to continue to decline. And you just kind of need to come to terms with that. Well, his doctor couldn't find any evidence that the macular degeneration was there anymore. So he's really kind of shocked and couldn't believe it. And so that's what happened to Ken. Now, I want to share with you, like, what is C60 and like, why did that happen? Because I know, a lot of people would think, well, hey, maybe this could happen for me. And I want to be really clear about what it is. It's an antioxidant that works at the cellular level to lift the oxidative burden. And basically what that means is it helps to lift the oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is basically like your body rusting. So when we're exposed to, radiation or we work out, like there's lots of things in our world that will create oxidative stress, but that's basically what it does. It works at the cellular level to lift that. It helps neutralize that oxidative stress and turns it back into water. It's characterized as a free radical sponge. And what we do is we manufacture 99.99% pure sublimated C60 in a laboratory environment, and then we dissolve it into healthy oils. So healthy organic MCT coconut oil, organic avocado oil, organic extra virgin olive oil. And what Ken was doing, he was taking a teaspoon up to a tablespoon a day as part of his morning routine and consuming that. And, as most of you probably know, inflammation shows up in all of our bodies kind of uniquely. For me, I haven't had a vision experience with C60. I've had different experiences. Like I've got my hair in a ponytail right now, but and you'll have to excuse me because I had no idea I was going to be on Claudia's podcast today, so I wasn't really prepared for camera. But for years, I just had a short bob haircut. Like actually, my haircut in my 20s and my 30s was the same length of Claudia's. And I just couldn't get it to grow. So for me to have a ponytail and it's recently cut is a really big deal. And so for me, my inflammation issue was showing up that my hair just wouldn't grow. And I've also dealt with some pretty significant allergies. And since I've been taking it, Ken and I both live in Colorado. Our company's based in Colorado. And I love to be outside hiking, biking, skiing, all that kind of good stuff. And there's lots of the trees and grasses here I'm just allergic to. And so it's been really nice to help me in that way. Now, Claudia had mentioned Ken having an associate or a research associate on his team. And that's true. This guy's name was Gary. And we recently took this information off of our YouTube channel because we're kind of concerned with some censorship issues, and we're all navigating through that right now. So I just want to let you guys know I'm going to kind of tiptoe around this subject because we're just living in a unique kind of censored world right now. But his research associate had wet macular degeneration, and he actually had lesions on the back of his eyes. And he followed the same protocol that Ken did, and he ended up having, full recovery, which was also really hard to believe. And he was at risk for going blind very soon. And because his oxidative stress was lifted, and he helped, create an environment with C60 in his cells where his body could repair itself naturally. That's actually what transpired for his research associate. So that was those two events really changed the trajectory of Ken's life and his career. And it's the reason why we're in business today, because he realized that, while he set out to solve this one problem, which is a really big problem and still needs to be solved, his tests, by the way, were successful. How you bring this technology to market is another conversation. But he really feels passionate about helping people take back control over their health. And that's our entire context. We're here to serve our community and practitioners like Claudia, who work with great groups of people like yourselves who are committed to healthy lifestyle choices. C60 really works best in conjunction with healthy lifestyle choices. It's not a drug, like I said before, and it's not a cure-all. It's one really nice, powerful antioxidant that you can add to your toolbox that works in conjunction with all of your other vitamins, minerals, supplements, and it works best with those healthy lifestyle choices. So you've got to be somebody who's committed to exercise, regular movement, healthy nutritional, healthy foods, eating organic when you can, staying hydrated, doing what Claudia tells you to do, getting plenty of sunlight and fresh air. And, all of those things, C60 will just help to accelerate your healing process. So
can
I
I
there, and I want to slow down because I'm sure you've got some questions.
Let me interject a little bit, and also we have a surprise guest who I want to bring on at some point. But I'm always very skeptical. I want to say this. I'm always very skeptical with all kinds of supplements and stuff, and I recommend very, very few things. And you and I met at an event, and you gave me some samples, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try. It's free. I'm going to try this. And within 2 days, I felt amazing energy. Like I didn't need my afternoon coffee anymore. I was like, what is this stuff? Like, so then I tried more. You gave me a nice big bottle. So I tested this for a while. I felt amazing. I have joint pain sometimes, which got much better after stopping gluten, but it's still like it completely went away. And I've been giving it to friends and family. And my mom is 86, had 2 falls recently. Lots of pain in her knee, and she's like, Mom, I can go, like I barely feel any pain. And the doctor basically told her, listen, there's nothing we can do. Knee surgery, and if knee surgery at 86, that's Yeah. So anyway, from my own experience, and again, I don't have eyesight, issues either, but I just felt this energy, and I felt like overall, like so much better. And everybody tells me, you look so much younger. And so I think it's a good time to bring on actually a dear friend of mine. And I had no idea about the story. This is a funny thing. I sent out this email for this event, and she responded. I didn't even know she was on my email list. She responded and said, I have a story with C60, Purple Power, your company. And we talk more about the quality of different C60 brands and why this is important. But let me bring her on, and I want to make sure I introduce you properly, Ree. But basically, Ree is also a Bates Method Vision teacher, just like I am. She's also a yoga teacher, and she's been doing this for 25 years and recently also started facelift yoga, which I also find super interesting. And Ree had, I think, a total, let me bring you on, I think you had a total of 14 eye surgeries. And I think it's better, let me bring you on, because I feel like it's better when you tell the story yourself. And I'm going to stop you for a second, Jess. So Ree, tell us what happened to your eyes and how C60, what happened.
Thank you, Claudia. I developed in my 30s autoimmune. Actually, I had a long history of autoimmune issues. And as a child and teenager, I was exposed to a lot of environmental chemicals from where I lived. I lived near a military base, and experiments and things gone awry. So I had a lot of autoimmune stuff. So I traveled to a third world country, and I came home and I was really sick, and it affected my eyes. And, the doctor's like, well, you're fine. I'm like, no, something's wrong. So eventually I was diagnosed with idiopathic uveitis and autoimmune disease of the eye. And my body was attacking my optic nerve. So I live in a city that has a teaching hospital. So I was subject to a lot of surgeries, many of which I really doubt were for my highest interest. But, I was a Bates student, and I would go and I would correct my eyes and I'd get them to 20/20, and my egotistical doctor would be pissed because I kept proving him wrong and he was supposed to know everything, but I'd waltz back in, I can do it. So lots of years go by. The eyes are a very small place, and I had a lot of surgeries, and it degraded enough that I needed a corneal transplant. And I went to my doctor, and I was like, oh my goodness, meds for the rest of my life and, anti-rejection drugs. So I said, okay. I left, and I went to buy some a pendant for energy. So for my own personal energy. And this woman's a chiropractor, never met her before. And I said, I'm really, really nervous and having a transplant. So she said, here, try this product. And it was C60. And I, rolled my eyes, but I've always been big into supplementation, eradicating toxins from the body, nutritious food, and yoga, stretching, mindfulness, anything we can do to help our bodies and our minds. So I started C60, and I went back to the doctor 8 weeks later for my pre-op. And I go in, and he's looking, and he's like, you don't need a corneal transplant. And I was just, I can feel the feeling tone now of what it felt like then. And I was just amazed. And I got on the subway and got off of my stop, and I was looking in this bakery window of macaroons, and this woman came up to me and says, oh, you must try. They're amazing. And I turned to her. I burst into tears. She took me in her arms, and I said, I don't need a transplant. And she just hugged me so tight, and she let me cry. And I will never forget that feeling of just healing on such a major level. And people don't believe we can heal. We need to, as we said, detox, get rid of chronic inflammation, systemic issues, nutrition, supplement where you need it, and we can all heal. And it takes a village. We don't heal in a vacuum. We have to pick and choose and have good practitioners with a lot of different knowledges who can contribute to all the tools in your toolbox, because I have a very large toolbox, and I use it, and I help myself and I help my students, and it's just pure joy.
Thank you so much. And I love that you reiterated what Jess said earlier. It is not like, a lot of times in our society, give me the quick fix that solves all my problems. So I think it's really important. Like you said, there is a whole body, mind, spirit, emotional protocol. However, I found C60, and thank you so much, Ree, for sharing your story. I mean, it's just like, I didn't know this story, and we're good friends, and I didn't even know this. And, thank you to that woman who just recommended this. Sometimes we never know, we get some random stranger really changing our lives. So this is such a beautiful story. Thank you. But yeah, I think it's important. Here's what I noticed with C60, that other supplements I take or I don't take, and oftentimes I don't really feel a big difference. Or maybe it takes a while, but with C60, I felt it within one day. I was like, and I've been giving it to lots of my colleagues and friends, and everybody said the same thing. So just tell us a little bit about, the brand C60 Purple Power. I put something in the chat. Today is the day to get 20% off, and I also have a link that you can use. It is an affiliate link. I want to be transparent, but this is, again, I have only affiliate links for a couple companies because I love your brand, and I think the quality of your product is so amazing. But tell us why people shouldn't go to Amazon and buy some kind of cheap, because this is the first thing after I got it for you for free, right? I was like, I'm like, oh, this stuff is not cheap, but again, I think it's important to know that when you buy supplements, the cheap stuff is often 80% is not what's in it. It has fillers, all this bad stuff that's actually not helpful. So tell us a little bit about the company and why, and again, I don't want to label it as expensive, but again, I was like, when you first look, you're like, oh, this is not like $20, like some kind of supplement from Costco or something.
I want to tell you all about that. But before I do that, I want to mention one thing, because you had mentioned, in a short amount of time that you noticed, some energy and mental clarity. And that's really what most people notice within 30 days of daily use. Like I said before, it's not a drug, it's not an instant fix. And it's just, one of many great tools that you can have in your healthy toolbox. But what it does, working at the cellular level to lift that oxidative burden, is it helps promote a healthy inflammatory response. And that's where your body doesn't have an overreaction or a cytokine storm to any kind of inflammation. And the body is designed, whether you have acute inflammation or chronic inflammation. And again, I want to say this, I'm going to stop for 1 second. I'm not a doctor. And so this is not intended to be any medical advice. Okay. And anything I say here on this video, and any other products that we're talking about have not been approved by the FDA. And so none of this is intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent, or mitigate any disease. So I just want to be clear about that. Okay. So having said that, whether you have chronic inflammation or acute, chronic is like you've got some kind of underlying health and condition, and acute would be like you sprain your ankle and you have like instant swelling, right? So in either case, your body is designed to suppress the dopamine in your body, because the idea is really that if you have inflammation, you should kind of lay around and be able to heal, and that your body, you'd have less energy because your body needs to heal itself. Well, in a chronic inflammation situation where your dopamine is being suppressed, that the result of that can be like fatigue and exhaustion. And for some people, it could be described as like, I just don't feel like doing the things I used to love doing. And when you start to lift that oxidative burden and you have a healthy inflammatory response, so your body's healing itself, inflammation is going down, the dopamine starts to come back. And that's the reason why most people notice an increase in energy and mental clarity, is just that all of a sudden they feel like, I've got my mojo back, I've got more energy to exercise, which once you start exercising again, that's a really good thing. And you get all the healthy benefits of exercise. But that's really what that first part of that is about. So I want to be clear about like why that happens, and Claudia, why, and just a few days for you, you're very sensitive and in tune with your body. Not everybody is in tune with their body as
but the brain fog, you talked like, I gave this to some, like my mom and some other friends that are in the 80s, and they said that like, I immediately felt mental focus and clarity. And right, when we talk about focus and vision, right, that we always talk about the mind. So yeah, so that's really interesting, a backstory about the dopamine. And dopamine is definitely the motivation neurotransmodulator, right? Like without dopamine, we're not getting up out of the bed in the morning, right? You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would describe it too. It's not like when you have a cup of coffee or a sugary drink, where you get kind of a jolt of energy and then you kind of crash later. For me, I would describe it as it kind of feels like your synapses are just firing appropriately. And for me personally, it feels like you have expanded bandwidth. So we're all getting inundated right now with a tremendous amount of stressful information that's changing every single day. And we're getting hit, left and right with, global events and things that are impacting our lives and our finances. And it's just with C60, it feels like for me that when that information comes in, I can just deal with it better. I can think clearer and have, more capacity to problem solve and strategize, versus kind of when you're exhausted and you've got that increased inflammation and your dopamine suppressed, when that information hits you, it kind of lands as an overwhelm. And, can kind of put you over the edge emotionally. So this just kind of expands your bandwidth. That's how I would describe it. You had asked about like, why is it so expensive? It's extremely expensive to manufacture, especially sublimated C60. And that's really the difference between our company and others, is that we use this process called sublimation, which is essentially evaporation. So we're not using any chemical solvents in the manufacturing of C60. Most of the other companies that are selling C60 use some sort of solvent. Most of them have a form of toluene, which they cook off, which is not a productive solvent at all. So bottom line is you get what you pay for. We use 100% certified healthy organic oils. Some of the other things to look out for would be to make sure that the oils that you are consuming are in fact healthy and don't contribute to inflammation. Some companies will put it in sunflower oil, and you don't want to be consuming sunflower oil if you're concerned about inflammation. You also probably don't want to consume hemp oil unless it's refrigerated, because there could be some concerns about molds or rancidity, those types of issues. But for us, given that our company was started with Ken's miraculous health journey, our intent and everything that we do, we're committed to supporting our customers with successful outcomes and supporting them on their C60 journey. And we don't assume or would recommend that this is the only thing that you do. Like I said before, it's one of many other healthy things that you're doing, and you should always be working your health and wellness journey in conjunction with trained health and wellness practitioners, people like Claudia, seeking external advice, making sure that you've got the right support team to help you address whatever issues that you're dealing with, because we're all dealing with some sort of challenge right now. So the things that you can know that you can get from us is we've got all of our, when you buy our products, you'll get the product in a box, and there's a QR code on there. You can scan that and it'll take you to our third-party tests. So we test for to make sure that, number one, the right amount of C60 is in there that we say that there is, but also that the oils are exactly how we're advertising them. And so you'll always have that information available. And we have a dedicated customer service team based here in the US. So Monday through Saturday, you can pick up the phone and you can call us if you have any questions or concerns. We guarantee the product 100%. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to us. You can email us 7 days a week. Our team responds 6 days out of 7. So, if you email us on a Sunday, you might have to wait 24 hours, but we're here to support you in your journey and to make sure that you get the right information that you need about Carbon 60.
Thank you so much. And a question, do you have any other stories about eyesight improvements? Or because I know Ken had a bunch of studies prepared, but I guess we can always bring him on and have those studies, share those another time.
Yeah, I am not prepared because
yeah, I know.
we were gonna talk today, and the truth of the matter is, I call these love letters. We get love letters from our customers. We've been in business for 5.5 years now, and literally every day we're getting some sort of love letter, and it's across the spectrum. They're not all related to vision because, like I said earlier, inflammation manifests for all of us in different ways. I think C60 can definitely be supportive to your journey and your process in working on a healthy vision plan. Like I said before, it's not a drug and it's not a cure-all, and it's not an instant thing. And just because Ken had this experience doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to have that experience. So I want to be really clear about that. That's how it showed up for Ken. So I mentioned before, it supports a healthy inflammatory response. It supports a healthy immune response as well. So if you're just interested in optimizing your health and wellness across the board, and all of us, I think now more so than ever, in our lifetime, we're all kind of focused on not getting sick in the first place. I think when you utilize C60 plus all of those other healthy lifestyle choices, you're just setting yourself up for, supporting your immune system at the cellular level. It helps improve mitochondrial function. So that's also why you're seeing an increase in that energy and mental clarity. And then, depending on your individual chemistry, you might find some really interesting surprises. For me, like I said, my hair and nails grew. And I've seen, I've been using less Kleenex when I'm outside exercising. So that's really nice. For lots of people, they note that their aches and pains and joints go away. Other people note they start to feel a little bit more frisky in the bedroom. So sometimes there can be a nice, and this is for men and women. C60 helps activate pregnenolone, which is the precursor molecule to all the hormones. So it's supportive to the balancing out of your hormones, SOD, catalase, CoQ10, and glutathione too, which are all really important antioxidants that the body naturally produces, but as we age, they go down. So I definitely would love to have you invite Ken back when we've got a secure internet connection, because I know your audience will really appreciate him diving into the science. I'm not a biogeochemist, Ken is. I focus on the business. But he would love to share more with you about that. But I can definitely attest to the fact that we get amazing stories. Most of the people that are attracted to C60 are over 40. Most of us over 40 are already noticing some sort of age-related challenges, and C60 is really beneficial for that. But that said, we also have really amazing stories from people in their 20s and 30s too, who are using it and have also noted that they start to feel a little bit more frisky in the bedroom, which is a fun side effect.
So we have some questions. So thank you so much for saying that, because yeah, and you did a great job with some of the science, but we can do a deeper dive. So I have two questions that I see right now. One's on YouTube. Is Ken still taking C60 Purple Power, and how much does he take every day?
So a teaspoon up to a tablespoon. So here's the deal. You can take more than that, but you really don't need to. And I want to explain the reason why we have it in different oils. So the original studies that were done with C60, they utilized olive oil because the studies were done in Europe, and olive oil is cheap and readily available. And so there's some people in that would have the thought process, like if they want to be really true to it, I want to just use olive oil because that's what they used in the original studies. And there you go, Claudia's holding.
Yeah, the 3 oils. I have the 3 mini drop. I love the dropper bottles, to be honest. I love those the most. But there, 1 second, let me show. This is also so you have this is what, the 16 ounce, and then this is the 2 ounce. So you can. Yeah, so okay, so the olive oil was the original one from the studies. Okay.
But the thing is, if you take a lot of olive oil, you're probably going to be running to the bathroom. So if you want to experiment with it, and that's what Ken was doing, he was experimenting with it. He just didn't want to have that experience. So if you're not consuming oil on a daily basis, you really want to start with the avocado oil because it's easiest to digest. So you start with the avocado oil until you feel comfortable with everything. We also put it in MCT coconut oil, which a lot of athletes really appreciate for ketones and a quick source of energy. People with glucose imbalances or blood sugar issues really like MCT too. MCT is my personal favorite because I like to put it in my coffee in the morning.
Me too.
And so that's my favorite. However, if I'm like intermittent fasting and then I break my fast around lunch or in the afternoon, and if I have a salad or some veggies or something, I like to use the olive oil to drizzle that on my food. And so those are kind of like the 3 different flavors. And for Ken, the avocado oil was the easiest to consume. So while he was experimenting, he could do more. But I just want to be clear, you guys don't need more than that. It's a teaspoon up to a tablespoon. And if you're not consuming oil right now as part of your daily routine, start with a half teaspoon and kind of work your way up. Some people can experience some detoxing initially if you take too much oil, and that would show up as like you just could go to the bathroom more than you're normally used to. And for some people, that's actually kind of a good thing because if they've had an issue with digestion and just constipation, that C60 can help things get moving again. And the MCT oil, people report back more so that that's their experience. So my I don't know, it's not a warning, but my comment would be that start slower and work your way up until you feel really comfortable and you're not experiencing any digestive discomfort, because that can just be an issue with you consuming oil in your body, not being used to it, to have more of that fat in your diet.
Yeah, and I don't actually really consume oils usually. I didn't have a problem. That's one reason I do personally like the droppers, because it's just easy to dribble on. But
yeah,
I didn't have any trouble with that at all. And I think I did about a teaspoon, and then like you said, I put it in my coffee. So that's really easy you can put it directly in, there you go. And and you have some flavored ones, right?
Yeah, so in the MCT, we have, I'm trying to do this so you can see it.
Let me turn my video off so we can make you bigger. 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so we have, in the MCT, we have other flavors. We have an organic orange, we have an organic peppermint, and we have an organic cinnamon. And these are really nice. I keep the orange. It happens to be my personal favorite cinnamon.
Mine is cinnamon. Mine is cinnamon.
A lot of people love it, but I keep this at my desk. And if you ever get that kind of like the afternoon blahs, like 2:30, 3 o'clock, where you still have, hours left of meetings or things to get done, and you're just feeling kind of tired, I'll do a little bit of this in the afternoon. It just kind of keeps me going through dinner, which is really nice. But they're great. They're a great substitute for mouthwashes. So, a lot of people use mouthwash, but this is kind of new news to me, but the kind of the mouthwash that you can get at your drugstore can actually kill the good bacteria in your body, and that can translate to your gut. C60 can be very supportive to that good bacteria. So, this is a nice substitute if you're looking to swap out for a more healthy kind of breath freshener. The peppermint and cinnamon are amazing. And they're also really good in coffee and tea, or even adding to a sparkling water if you want to create a mocktail. We've done a lot of experimentation with those flavors in the summertime, creating mocktails. So for those of you that are not interested in consuming alcohol and supporting your healthy lifestyle, these are nice little alternative things to add to your mocktails.
So I have some questions here in the chat too. So one is then, have you heard anecdotal stories of improvement with pets and skin allergies, for example? I know we're getting off a little bit of the vision topic, but we might as well talk about it. Okay.
Definitely. We have a pet line, and I'm going to be totally transparent with you. It's our same product, but we just put different labels on it. So the dosage is there for pets, but C60 is very supportive to pets. So if you have an aging pet who has some mobility issues, just low energy, C60 is great for that. And then you asked about skin issues. You can also apply it topically. We're going to have some exciting news about some skin stuff later on this year. But if you ever get like a mosquito bite and you've got that, or like the itchy bug bite, you can just apply a little bit of C60 there, and you should probably notice that the itch goes away. It helps support a healthy histamine response. I really like the avocado oil the best for topical application. That said, olive oil is good too.
Okay. So, wonderful. Another question, someone here in my membership, Clear Vision Club, said, I ordered some and then read that if you are on blood thinners because of past strokes, you cannot take the C60. It doesn't say why. What can you explain why?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that's such a great question. I'm glad that we brought that up, because we really only have two counterindications. One is blood thinners and one is pregnancy. The reason why we say about pregnancy is just that there are no tests done with pregnant women.
Right, and they have that on pretty much every. So
the deal with blood thinners, let me get into this, because this is important, is if you're on blood thinners, you just would need to work with your doctor to get your blood tested more regularly or during the process of taking C60, because it can help balance out your blood. So what you don't want to be doing is taking blood thinners and then your blood gets too thin and your blood gets balanced. So it's not that you can't take it on, that you can't take C60, but you would just need to work with your doctor or your practitioner to make sure that your blood doesn't get too thin from the medication that you're taking. So let me know if that makes sense.
Okay, another question here, and Karen on YouTube is asking, is there any chance you would manufacture it in something other than oil? I avoid consuming oils. By the way, I want to say I'm the same way. I don't really eat oils otherwise. The only oils I'm taking are the C60, and it's like, no more than a tablespoon a day tops. But question, why does it have to be an oil, or is there any other form that you can take?
So it is not water soluble. And the reason why we haven't put it in capsules is, quite frankly, you'd have to take 6 to 10 capsules to get the same amount that you can get in a serving of C60 right now. So that's just for people that are already taking supplements. It would not be something that likely they would be able to stick with. So we've avoided that route. Now, that said, we are going to be announcing probably within the next 90 days. I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but Claudia, you can invite me back in June and we will talk about it. We are going to have a solution for those of you who hate oil, and it is coming this summer. So there is good news. I will say though that like if you can do a little bit of olive oil on some veggies, and just do a teaspoon. And I think, Claudia, I think that one's your favorite. I think it's pretty amazing tasting olive oil. We worked for a long time to find the very best olive oil we could. It's pretty peppery, but it's good. But we are working on a solution for those.
Okay, great. I love the olive oil. I love all the oils, to be honest. Another question, where was it again in the chat somewhere? Oh, how about getting it in Europe?
We ship to Europe, not all countries, but most of them. With the challenge is, things are so dynamic right now with everything from supply chain to shipping. The VATs and custom fees are always changing. So we cannot guarantee exactly what's going to happen at the border in your country. If you have any questions, the best thing to do is, and if you'd like support, placing your order and you want to talk through it or, get a guesstimate on what those custom fees might be, you can email us. It's support@c60purplepower.com. Again, support@c60purplepower.com. And one of our amazing customer care associates would be happy to help you either place your order or answer any questions that you have about Europe.
Great. And then I do have another question here. Is there any problems when you take antidepressants or have neurological or digestive issues?
It doesn't interact with any of those medicines, so you wouldn't have any issues with that. In terms of digestive issues, it really can help support, balancing out a healthy, gut biome. So we're big advocates for taking care of your gut health. So if you're not already working with somebody that can help you with that, I think that's a great place to start, because sometimes when you take care of those gut health issues, the need for antidepressants go away. In my 20s, I really suffered with depression. I had a lot of issues with it, and I took some antidepressants. But once I got my nutrition in check, and started incorporating more healthy lifestyle choices, I found that a lot of my need for those things over time, resolve themselves.
But to be really clear, you said the only two real contraindications for sure are the blood thinners, where you need to work with your doctor. You might still be able to take it, but you need to work with your doctor, and pregnancy, just because it hasn't been tested. And when I was pregnant, I remember every product. Right. It doesn't mean that, even the product your doctor prescribed you had those labels, but because sometimes it wasn't tested. So that doesn't mean that it's bad for you. But again, you want to talk to your doctor in those cases. So
100%. Yeah. So to answer your question, it doesn't interact with any of those medications. Okay.
Another question. I know we have a lot of questions, so that's good that you're here. You can answer all those questions. Could this be the only supplement to take daily?
It could be. It doesn't need to be, though. I mean, we wouldn't recommend, I think, there's some really critical ones to make sure, especially in our environment right now, vitamin D, vitamin K2, vitamin C, it really depends on you and your health plan. We don't say take C60 and nothing else. That's not our message. It's one of many, and it can be supportive to the other things that you're taking. So I would, make sure that you're working with a health and wellness practitioner or your doctor or a functional medicine doctor, somebody who can give you that advice, because I'm not a doctor.
So yeah, thank you. And I think one last thing I want to finish with, and I know this has nothing to do with eyesight. I love that Ree was able to come in and tell her story about that her corneal transplant surgery didn't have to happen because the cornea healed itself, which is
so cool.
To me, those are things where, doctors are like, wow, I don't have an explanation. And Ken with his macular degeneration, and Gary, his member on his team, where you just see these things happen. So that's, and I know he had more research coming up on other eye diseases like cataracts and such. However, there's one thing that I didn't know that you told me recently. So I want to finish with that. We talked a little bit about skin and pets and taking this, but you can also apply it topically, right? Because you can obviously from the inside out, you improve your, the pets might see better fur and more shiny and overall health, but you can also actually apply it topically, right? So I didn't know that. Can you share just a little bit more about your new product and also how you can use it as I would say, Brinkle?
We recently launched a product called C60 Sexy, and it's basically what it sounds like. It's an edible massage oil. So you can apply it topically. and it's intended to help support a connection and intimacy with your partner, but it's a lot of fun. And it's one way that you can enjoy the topical application of Carbon 60.
And you can also use it on your skin, on your face. Does it help?
Yeah, you can. We're gonna have some announcements later this summer.
Okay, great. Okay,
anyway, cool stuff. Yeah.
I'm so thank you so much for jumping on last minute. And Ken, we've all had these problems with technology. We take it all for granted, and when it doesn't work out, like our vision, right? A lot of times we take our vision for granted, and when there's some problems, we're like, oh, what now? Same with technology. So I appreciate that you were able to jump on, and apologies for us being late here today. So, and thank you so much. I want to bring Ree back up. So just to finish this off, Ree is just an amazing teacher. Where are you located for everybody? Ree, you're still muted, like in case somebody, I don't know, do you work with people? So like you're still muted, I think. Oh, no, you're not. Okay, now you're not. Okay.
Thanks, Claudia. And thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Ree.
I'm in Boston and I teach yoga locally. And I do see vision clients on Zoom and in person. And I really specialize in people preparing for surgery and healing from surgery. I've had so many eye surgeries. I really have good solid plans on how we can prepare, and including products like C60 and just some homeopathics to take. I mean, arnica, the minute you see your person bringing you home from a procedure, I mean, just some really simple homeopathic stuff that can make a big difference to our recovery. So that's my specialty. I'm also certified by Peggy Huddleston in her book, Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster. So it's a meditation. It's just a one-time meeting with me. And we also cover chemo treatments, depression, sleep, anxiety. So there's meditations for that. So, that's my, we teach what we know.
Right. I totally love this. And I do want to have you on as a proper guest here talking about that, because I think eye surgeries are one of the scariest. I've never had one, but I can only imagine that that's one of the scariest surgeries ever that to have is on your eyes, right? Because yeah, not that any surgery is pleasant, but especially that one. And you had so many. I remember I met you at a conference when your vitreous tumor had shrunk and your eyeball was kind of what do you call it? You were like just before that surgery, and I remember you were really scared, and it was yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for sharing your story. And we will talk amongst ourselves in the Clear Vision Club in a moment. Thank you so much, Jess. Is there anything I'm looking at? I don't see any. Oh, one more question. Sorry, one last question that we have to fill in. I take cod liver oil every morning. Could I do this too? And I don't know if the question means could I do that in addition to C60, or because obviously the cod liver oil doesn't have carbon 60 in it. So
yeah, you absolutely can. If Ken was here, what he would tell you, because he also feels very passionate about this, is if you're taking cod liver oil, make sure, or any kind of fish oils, make sure that the products that you're buying are refrigerated when you get them. He's got, there's a big concern about rancidity. So just make sure that those are specifically refrigerated items, but you can absolutely add C60 to that. Somebody else had asked if it needs to be refrigerated. You do not need to refrigerate it. What you need to do is just keep it in a dark cupboard. Room temperature is perfect. If you refrigerate, especially the avocado oil, it can kind of congeal. If that happens, it's not the end of the world. You can shake it up, but you don't need to refrigerate it. And then somebody else had asked, can I put it in my eyes? The intent is that you take it internally. You don't drop it in your eyes.
Great, thank you for clarifying that. And I just saw that question, so thank you so much. That's a really good point. So you take it, like you said, you just put it directly in your mouth. You can put it in drinks and coffee, and yeah, that's what I do too sometimes. I drizzle it in my salad, like you said, or over soup, or however you like it. And anyway, thank you so much, Jess, for coming. And today, I just want to make sure I did put my link in the chat. There is, I think today is the last day to get 20% off any product that's not on sale. So if you want to test this stuff out for yourself, I can really honestly say this stuff is amazing. I cannot sing higher praises. And as you can tell, read it too. And I've been taking it ever since, I think about a year ago, I started taking it. So, yep. Anyway, thank you so much. Make sure to sign up for C60. I think you have a newsletter too that is chock full of great information. Follow me here on YouTube and Instagram. Everything is below in the show notes. So see you guys next Wednesday. Bye, everybody.